This is my life. This is my passion. This is Ike's Outdoors. Hey guys, Ike here from IkesOutdoors.com. Today I want to talk to you about broadheads and the different kinds of broadheads out there, and a little bit about what each one, performance-wise, and what each one's going to do for you. I've got a couple broadheads here. This one's just a standard Muzzy. This is a Muzzy MX4. They have a bunch of different broadheads available. You know, you're going to be able to find 4-blade, 3-blade. You're going to be able to find 2 blades like this, and you're going to be able to find what I would call a 2-blade with bleeders. They call it 4-blade, and it's going to be one like this, and it's going to have little blades coming out the side that are bleeder blades. So let's talk about this Muzzy first. This Muzzy is just a standard 4-blade broadhead. When you hear about a broadhead, the blade number, you know, that's of course the blades that you got. Cutting diameter is how much this broadhead is actually going to cut. Now it doesn't mean if you get a blade or a broadhead with an 1 1/16 cut that you're only going to get an 1 1/16 hole. Angle can make the hole bigger, and also the kind of head that you have or tip you have on these broadheads can make the hole bigger as well. So just because you get something with an 1 1/8 cutting diameter, don't expect to get just an 1 1/8 hole. Sometimes it can really open them up. So like I said, the 1 1/8 is the cutting diameter, or they'll be 2 inch, 1 3/4, whatever. Grain weight, just like your fill points, is the total grain weight of this broadhead with the blades attached. So that's pretty much all the information that you need on your broadheads to buy them. Now there's a lot of difference between the broadheads. We have 2 broadheads here that are pretty much the same style. The main difference in these 2 broadheads overall is the Muzzy has what they call, I think it's a Trocar tip, and the Red Feather has a cut-on contact tip. So I'm going to show you what the difference on these real quick is. The Trocar tip, we'll try this, see how this works here. The Trocar tip, when it hits, is actually going to push before it cuts. You see there, it pushes in, and then it starts to cut, starts to force it in. It's like a wedge on there. The cut-on contact head is actually going to start slicing. You can see there it actually starts slicing a little bit quicker. And of course this paper is a terrible example, but the cut-on contact does exactly what the name describes. When it hits that flesh, it's going to start cutting. When this head hits, since it doesn't have the blades right there, it's actually going to poke, and the skin's going to be forced in, and then when the broadhead does punch through, it's going to make a bigger hole. So the question is, why would I want to use this one that's going to cut instantly over this one if this one's going to make a bigger hole? Well, this one is going to make a little bit bigger hole in my experience, but it also seems like it takes a little bit more energy to get this type of head through. It just seems like because it's forcing against that skin and not cutting smoothly like this cut-on contact, that you're losing a little bit of energy forcing that through. Now don't get me wrong, this is you're still going to have good luck getting this through an animal, but if you're a low poundage shooter, you're going to want to go with something like this. Now this tip also has another advantage besides having the bigger entry hole. Now this one will cut a really big entry hole as well, but yeah, I tend to found these type here to be just a little bit bigger entry hole overall. The other advantage that I've found with these is when this hits bone, that wedge seems to force its way through the bone a little bit better, where these cut-on contacts tend to want to kind of bend. Now this 3-blade here has got a nice wedge point to it over on at the end, and it's not too bad. You get into something, let me dump one of these out. You get into something like this that's got a little bit finer point. This is a Steel Force fathead, and I got one in here that I hit bone with, and if I can get it out of there without cutting myself all up. And you can see I hit a good solid bone with this one, and you can see the tip really bent there. Put it up against my shirt so you can see. The tip really bent backward on that one. So that's a good stout broadhead, but it seems like that Trocar tip really goes through the bone a little bit better. So those are the differences between those two heads. That's just about it. You know, those are exact same grain. This one's a one-piece broadhead like the G5s and some of the others out there. This one is a replaceable blade broadhead. That means when this one gets dull, you can take the blades out and you can put another set of blades right in there. When this one gets dull, you're going to take a file to it and you're going to file this one down. So it's a little cheaper to maintain these, but you're also losing just a little bit of grain weight, and I mean very little whenever you do that. But if you have this thing for 10 years, the grain weight may not be very good, and that's the experience I ran into with them. But it's taking a long time to file off that kind of weight. So we got a standard, what I would deem a standard broadhead here. We got a one piece, and we got one with removable blades. Now this next one is what I call a two blade. Like I said, we also have the four blade. I call them two blades, but it's just a two blade broadhead, and it's got little bleeders on the sides. All it is. These are really good for low pounded shooters. They're really good for anybody, really. They're a very good broadhead and do really well on penetration and do pretty good as far as damage. But really, for you guys who are shooting lower poundage, because they're cut on contact, it's going to slide in there just a little bit easier. And I have noticed that my holes with these are a little bit smaller than some of the something like the Muzzies that I've had. But I've had no problem really getting good penetration with these, even with a really low poundage bow. This is what I've got Lindsay using this year with her 35-pound bow, to get her a little bit more penetration and to get her in there a little bit deeper. So that's the advantage of the two blade or the four blade, whatever you want to call it. This is a traditional style head is what I would call it. And this is a red feather Talon. No, it's not a Talon. It's a red feather broadhead. So that's the advantage of the two blade, is you're going to get just a little bit better penetration over some of the other style heads. And I've found even I get better penetration on this two blade here than I do this three blade. I think it's because you got less resistance in blades. But shot placement is key. That's the biggest thing. So I get a little bit better penetration with these, but it seems like this one does a little bit more damage, and this one produces a bigger hole and gets a little less penetration. Now, this is an area that I know a lot of people, some people hate them, some people love them. I've got some Rage somewhere, but I can't find them right now in my well-organized shop here. I've got a couple different expandables, and this is a Trophy Ridge Meat Seeker, and you can see how this one works is it's got a rubber band on the back, and when it hits, it's gonna come open, and these blades just kind of flop around. This one here is a cheap expandable broadhead. Same thing. It's got a cut-on contact tip, and when that rubber band slides back, those blades deploy, and it's gonna start cutting from there. Now these are in terrible shape because they've just been shot at small game and stuff like that. But these are a traditional style expandable broadhead, and you got some out there like Rage that actually click in and do not use a rubber band, and you got ones like these that do use a rubber band, and they're going to come with the all different style of, this one's got a cut on contact head, and this one's got a kind of a Trocar type of tip to it as well. I would avoid the ones with the rubber bands. If you're going to go with a true expandable, I would avoid the ones with the rubber bands. Grim Reaper is a good one. Rage is a good one. And it seems like the ones with the rubber bands, they really just don't hold up, and I've just had really poor experience with them. So that's the expandable heads there. Now, what I'm shooting this year is a hybrid head. And this position right here, this is the NAP Blood Runner 2-blade. And this position right here, closed, it has an 1/16 cutting diameter. When it hits, this head moves back, and it opens up to a 2-inch cutting diameter. So that is this one's actually messed up and doesn't open all the way. It opens up just a little bit more than that. This one's messed up a little bit. But it has a nice point on the end of it. It has a wedge style of head. And it really is a true hybrid, because if it doesn't open, it's going to cut anyway, as well as this. and when it does open, it's going to give me the cutting diameter of this thing. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. The head, it's got a Trocar style head on it. It comes down to a wedge and has a nice point on the end. The head actually reminds me, or the tip actually reminds me of this broadhead here, as it's got a nice sharp angle to it, but it also has a nice wedge to it, and the blades are right behind the head. So it's gonna, there's the full width. You can see this thing's, I shot it into a target with another field point and hit it, and it messed it up. So this is my practice head. But that's the advantage over, it has a replaceable blade. You can take them blades right out of there and put new ones in, or you could try to sharpen them up, I guess. But I shot one of these into a hog earlier this year. You guys can see the video of that. I hit the hog angling toward me and I hit him in the shoulder. This broadhead drove through the shoulder and came out the offside and left a massive, massive hole. I mean, just absolutely the biggest hole that I've ever seen a broadhead put in an animal. So that's a hybrid, and there are several of them out there like this. NAP makes one. I don't know who else makes a hybrid like this, but that is an expandable fixed blade hybrid, and kind of the best of both worlds. And this is my first year trying these out, and really have had a lot of good success with them, and so far I'm really liking them. Get good consistent arrow flight out of them, and they did a massive amount of damage to that hog. So overall, you know, that's my favorite broadhead right now, is that NAP Blood Runner. I really like the 2-blade cut-on contacts for low poundage. I like the Muzzy MX4 for you guys that are shooting higher poundage, or something with that style of tip. If you guys shoot higher poundage, it's going to shoot and I'm talking 50 pounds or up. This is going to put a massive hole in a deer, and you're going to get a good blood trail. You may not get a good complete pass through if you're shooting on that lower end of that scale, but you are going to get a good hole, and had really good luck with the Muzzies in the past. This one here with the cut-on contact head from Red Feather, I've shot several animals with it, had really good luck with it. Shoots a pretty good size hole in them and does a lot of internal damage. As far as expandables go, if you're going to go with a true expandable, I recommend you get one without the rubber band, because you can see what this is doing now without the rubber band. Something like a Rage, a Grim Reaper, or an NAP Killzone, I believe, doesn't have the rubber bands. I may not be 100% accurate on that, but I know the Grim Reaper and I know the Rage do not have a rubber band system on them. So those are good if you don't have a lot of time to tune your bow. That's about the only situation where I'd recommend these. If you want to just go out and hunt tomorrow, go get you some expandables, I guess. But I really don't recommend them unless you're going with something like a Rage. And last but not least, we've got the hybrid again. So you can check these out for more information. You know, you can check out the websites. I'm sure there's a lot of good information on the websites as well. For more product reviews, how-to videos, you can be sure to check out our website, ikesoutdoors.com. If you have any questions, you can contact me at ikesoutdoors@yahoo.com, or hit us up on Facebook at Ike's Outdoors. Appreciate you guys watching.